Welcome back to the Being Connected podcast. I am your host, Anna Mia, and if you are here today, I have a feeling that you might be standing at a crossroad. Maybe it's a big one. Maybe it's a career change, a relationship you need to step away from, a move, a business idea that have been sitting in your chest for months, waiting for you to say yes to it. Or maybe it's just like a quieter and more exhausting kind of crossroad. The one where you've been circling the same decisions for so long that the weight of not choosing it is gonna be heavier than the decision itself. So this is what you can expect from today's episode. Today I'm going to talk about the anatomy of decision making. Why does it feel so incredibly difficult to just choose? Why do we spin? Why do we overthink and ask everyone around us and still feel no closer to an answer? How do we navigate all of those noise to find into what is true for me, for you? What is the truth? What am I saying yes to or no to? And once we finally land on that decision, how do we then communicate it into people in our lives without kind of shrink back into doubt? Because for most people, the decision making can be quite easy. We know exactly what we want, but the thing is, how do we say it? How do we say it to our surroundings without us being told that we are difficult or throwing a tantrum or being patronizing, whatever that is? This is a practical episode. I want you to walk away from this episode with real tools and how you can ground in both psychology and human design system, so that you can use it the next time you are standing in that uncomfortable space between where you are and where you know that you want to go. If you want a companion for this work, you can make sure that you download the free Clarity Toolkit. It's on the link in the description. You can go to my link tree and then just press it. It's completely free. Yes, you give me your email for it and then it's yours. These are just very simple, practical tools of awareness. And perhaps you know them, perhaps you don't. Either way, check it out. It's free. So this is like helping you to start map out your energy and your intention. And this is the perfect starting point for everything that we're going to talk about today. So let's take a deep breath and let's just dive in. So let's start with the elephant in the room. Why is making a decision so exhausting? Why does it feel so difficult? And I want to start with a word. And the word decision, it comes from the Latin decidere, which means to cut off. When we make a decision, we are literally cutting ourselves off from other possibilities. We are closing doors. We are saying goodbye to the version of our life where we choose differently. This is something that I am not available for this anymore. And that on a very primal level can feel like loss. So our minds are wired for survival. And to the mind, survival means certainty. The moment you face a decision with an unknown outcome, your brain reads that uncertainty as a threat. So that triggers what we call the analysis paralysis. So that state where you think that if you just gather one more piece of information, maybe you could ask one more friend, maybe read one more article, that perfect answer will just reveal itself. But it doesn't. It just creates what psychologists call decision fatigue. Here's something I really want you to sit with. Not making a decision is still a decision. Procrastination, it's not a pause. It is the active choice to remain undecided. So research shows that in the long run, we regret the things we didn't do far more than the things we actually went and did. So the pain of indecision doesn't wait politely for you to just be ready. It will spread itself across every single day that you stay stuck. And there's also another layer to this, and it is one that I see come up again and again in my work with clients. We avoid decisions because we want to avoid the feelings that comes with them. Big decisions carry big emotions. So they're like emotions of grief, of fear, of guilt, excitement, uncertainty. If we are out of practice with that, with actually feeling our feelings, we will avoid making decisions just to avoid the emotion. So the decision becomes a container for everything that we don't want to face. And then there's also the issue of the self-trust. When we carry a belief that we are somehow not capable or not worthy, and that we always get it wrong, every decision gets filtered through that lens. We don't trust ourselves to choose well, so we outsource the decision to everyone around us, or we will just stay there because it's easier to stay there than to make the decision, right? When we go into asking everyone around us, you can ask a partner, you can ask a mother or a best friend, and you can get 5 different answers, and you can feel even more confused than you did before, because the fear of the unknown, the avoidance of hard feelings, that lack of self-trust, the overactive analytical mind, you think that you can think your way to the decisions. These are the walls, the 4 walls of what the cage that is keeping you stuck. So how do we actually move through this? How do we get out of this spin cycle and land somewhere solid? I want to give you a framework that works on 2 levels. So the practical and the energetic level, because I believe that both matters. The mind needs a structure and the body needs permission to be heard as well. Step 1, acknowledge that there is no objectively right, quote unquote, right decision. I know that might feel very uncomfortable to hear, but stay with me for a while. The idea that there is one perfect choice and that all of the others are failures is one of the biggest myths, and that is something that can keep you paralyzed. Every path has a gift, and it also has a challenge or challenges and gifts with an S. The question is really not which is the right one, but rather which one is the most aligned with who I am and who I am becoming, because that's also something that's different. Who are you right now in your conditioned state, and who are you becoming in the way that you start to become that newer version, that next level version, the next version of you? When you release the pressure of finding the right answer, you can actually create space to find your answer. And step 2, stop comparing all of your options at once. Your nervous system is not designed to hold 5 different possibilities in the air simultaneously and to evaluate them all at the same time. That will drain your energy and it will also scramble your signal. So instead, take each option separately, hold it into your body and ask, well, body, is this a yes or is it a no? Remove the one that are actually just clear no's. And my guess is you know that what is a no before you even do it, and then you are only perhaps down to 2 options, and then you sit with the remaining 2 options, and you will often find that decision becomes much simpler once you stop pitting everything against each other. In step 3, create the psychological distance. This is one of the most powerful tools that I know. When you are too close to a decision, you lose the perspective. You can try this and you can ask yourself, how will I feel about this decision in 10 days, in 10 months? What about 10 years? This simple exercise pulls you out of the immediate panic and connects you to that kind of longer arch of your life. So what feels very terrifying today often looks like the most obvious and necessary step when you zoom out. You can also call this the helicopter perspective. When you remove yourself from whatever you're in and just create the space to see what is really here. You can also try to imagine that you have a dear friend come to you with this exact situation that you're trying to make a decision on. What would you tell your friend if he or she was in your shoes? We are almost always wiser and more compassionate when we are advising someone that we love, more than we are when we are advising ourselves. And why is that? Try and meet yourself like this to just create space and to listen. It makes it more constructive and way less emotional. Step 4, listen to your inner authority. This is your human design. Human design is not a woo-woo thing. This is a mechanical system where you can see who you are. All people are conditioned, so are you. But when you start to live and listen to your inner authority and your strategy for your design, everything becomes easier. And this is where I want to go a little deeper, because this is a piece that changed everything for me. In human design, your mind is an incredible tool for gathering information, for organizing and communicating, but it is never your decision maker. And if you have followed my content for a while, I speak about this all the time. You cannot make decisions with your mind. Your body holds that truth. So you can gather information, you can organize it, and you can reflect on it, and you can put things into structure, but this is never your decision maker. And depending on your human design type and authority, your body will speak different languages. What is true for me will perhaps not be true for you, because it depends on where you are at. If you are, for instance, a generator or a manifesting generator with sacral authority, you are listening for that immediate gut response. The or you know, yes, I want to do that, or nope, I ain't doing that. And that rises in your body before the mind has a chance to intervene. That's why you often know beforehand, because you felt it in your body, and then your mind said, oh, but we do have to go though. Yes, we have to go so people will like us. Well, if you listen to that body instead and not try to do it with the head, because your mind is not logical. And if you have splenic authority, your intuition will speak in the present moment, and it is quiet, it is instantaneous knowing, and it's just a whisper, and it doesn't repeat itself. So you get it once and then it's gone. You have to be still enough to hear it, and you also have to be brave enough to trust that one hit in your body before your mind talks you out of it. You can see how conditioning will do that for all of us in some kind of way in different areas. But when we start to trust ourselves and know that we can trust the body, we will begin to live our own personal authority and our strategy. If you have what we call emotional authority, there is no truth right now. It is like a wave, and a wave will move, right? Water moves. This wave needs to move. So when the wave is high, you feel in some way. When it's low, you feel another way. So what that really means is you need to sleep on it. You need to sit with it. Let the emotional charge rise and fall like the wave before you can find the clarity underneath. Deciding from a peak of excitement or a depth of fear will always lead you astray. So what you have to do with emotional authority, wait for the calm. Wait for you to go through that cycle of that wave before making decisions. If you are a projector with a mental or self-projected authority, you need to soundboard. So not to get advice, but you do need to hear your own truth spoken out loud in a safe and neutral space. Find someone who will listen without projecting their own agenda onto your decision, right? So when you speak it out and when you hear it, because when your voice says it, you can hear it. And when you hear what you say, you will actually find your truth because you hear your own truth spoken out loud. So this is a good thing to do. So surroundings and relationships here are very important. It is that for all of us. But of course, when you can speak out to somebody who doesn't have their own agenda, who can just listen, this is very good for you. And if you are a manifestor, well, you already know what you need to do. That question is whether you have given yourself permission to trust it, right? So when you are a manifestor, you can inform about it and you can initiate it and you can go and do that. And the question is, do you give yourself permission to trust that you can go and do what you set out to do? Step 5, check your values. Once you've listened to your body, bring in your mind, of course, but use it wisely. Ask yourself, which of these options aligns most closely with the values that I want to live by? Not the values that you were taught from your parents, not the values that would make other people comfortable, but the ones that feel most true for the life that you want to build, or you are in the progress of building, or where you want to go, right? When your decision is rooted in your values, you can stand behind it even when it gets hard. So for me, for instance, I quit alcohol many years ago. I do not drink. And the reason why I don't do that is because that I could just tell it didn't make me a better rider, for instance. I could feel that my legs didn't listen as much the day after, so my riding didn't get any better. And that's also why when I get an invitation to a party where I know that alcohol is the main thing, I don't go. And I know why I won't go. Why would I put myself in those surroundings when I don't need it, right? So that's the thing. When you have values, you can easily say, okay, this doesn't align with my life value, my life decisions about who I want to be, and therefore I'm not going. That makes it easier, right? Now, for the part that I think is actually the hardest for most of us is you've made the decisions, you feel it in your body, you've sat with it, you tested it, and you think it's solid. This is for sure what you want to decide. And now you have to tell people in your life. And then suddenly all that clarity, it just starts to wobble. Here is why. When you make a big life change, it acts as a mirror to the people around you. Your decision to grow and to shift and to choose yourself, it can trigger other people's unexamined fears, and it can trigger people's own unlived choices and their own insecurities. And their reaction is rarely actually about you. And this is a good thing for you to know. When people respond to you with fear or anger or whatever that is, it's always about themselves. They get triggered because you got up and went to do what they are most scared of doing. I also called it a receipt. So when you can see that people in your surroundings start to react or respond to your behavior, you are changing something, darling. So this is a good thing. What that doesn't is make it easier to sit in a room while somebody you love tells you how bad you are and what a bad idea that is. Here's the first and most important thing that I want you to understand. And this is a difference between communicating a decision and seeking permission for it. Can you see how these two things are completely different? When you tell somebody about your decision, if you don't just communicate it, this is my decision, I chose this, boom. But if you're asking, it sounds like you're seeking permission for it. If you go into a conversation hoping that the other person will agree with you so that you can feel finally okay about your choice, you are giving your power away. You are making their approval the condition for your peace. Can you see that? And this is, of course, a very vulnerable place to be, because you cannot, no matter what you do, you cannot control other people's reaction, and you are not supposed to either. Communication, you can say, is an act of love and respect. But when you're permission seeking, it's an act of fear. It's also an act of, I want approval. I want you to like me. I don't want you to think that I am too much. How do we communicate with clarity and with compassion? And first, get anchored before you even open your mouth up and start communicating. You don't have this conversation when you're still wobbling. Wait until your inner authority has settled and you have the certainty. And until you can speak it from a place of groundedness, rather than you have to be defensive about it, or you have to explain to others why you want to have it this way and with your new decision. You don't have to defend yourself, but when you're grounded, you can speak it and you can stand strong in your decisions. If you go in that needing them to understand you, you will be destabilized that moment that they will push you back. Because surroundings and changes are harder for the surroundings than it is for you, because now you're no longer available for what they want you to be. So the second thing is be clear and be direct. You can do this in many different ways, but when you are clear, grounded, and direct, you do not need to over-explain anything. You don't need to justify anything. You can say something like, I've made a decision that I know that it might be surprising for you, but I'm only sharing it with you because I value our relationship and I want you to know what is happening in my life. This is the path that I'm taking. That is it. You're not asking for a debate, and you're just informing. If you're a manifestor, you would want this approach because you are informing people. And because of that impactful aura of yours, informing is very important. I have, through my life, made decisions and I've just taken them without informing about it. And that is something that has very great impact on my surroundings. This is a very good way for a manifestor to actually learn to start to inform. The third thing, hold your boundaries when the reaction comes, and it may come, right? And there may be fear or anger or a guilt trip, especially if you carry, let's say, a line 5 in your human design profile. People will project their expectations and their fears onto you. Remember that their reaction is theirs, and it is not your job to manage their emotions about your life choices. You can hold compassion for their feelings without taking responsibility for them. So the fourth thing is give them time. People often need a moment to adjust to the change, and that's okay. The initial reaction is rarely the final one. Give them a space to process, just as you gave yourself space to process. You have used time and you are now grounded and certain this is what you're going to do. But this is the first time your surroundings hears about it. So give them time to digest it. And finally, know who you are talking to before you talk, right? Not every person in your life needs to be the first to know, okay? Choose the people who have historically been supportive of you, who do not have a personal stake in your decision and who can hold space for your growth. And your decision does not need to be validated by everyone. It just only needs to be lived by you, okay? Just know that this is not necessarily the people that you thought would support you, and sometimes support and space comes from a completely different side. What you will also see is when you start to make more conscious decisions, you will repel people that no longer benefits from you being the old version. And you will start to attract people that more aligns with that new version that you want to become. And this is important. And just observe it. It can feel a bit lonely when you go into the phase where you feel you're in between people. But just hold your energy firm and steady and be sure that you are going in the right direction. Decision making at its core is the ultimate act of self-trust, in my opinion. It's about learning the language of your body, also to turn down the noise of everyone else's expectations, and also having the courage to speak what is true for you and just say it out loud, and first to yourself and then to the world, because every decision you make from a place of genuine inner alignment, that is a vote for the life that you actually want to live. You deserve it, okay? And every time you override your own knowing to keep someone else comfortable, you chip away a little more of your relationship, yes, with you, with yourself. You deserve to choose your own life fully and without apology. If you are standing at a crossroad right now and you want to find support in finding that clarity, in understanding your design, your authority, and how you can trust yourself again, I would love to work with you in the Clarity Now session. This is a 60-minute Soul to Strategy reading where I read into your human design and create a clear, aligned path forward where you can start to decondition yourself and start to live your own personal inner authority, your strategy, know a bit more about what is in there, what is my potential, where am I conditioned, where can I let things go, where do I really want to go, and I can help you with that. The link to book is in the show notes. And if you haven't already, well, you can go and get the free Clarity Toolkit as well. This is the first step to understanding your own energy, and it's completely free. I want to thank you so much for being here. Consider liking, subscribing, perhaps sharing it with a friend who needs to know a bit more about how can I find myself, how can I support myself in that transition that I can feel is beginning for me, perhaps, or is on the way for you. So consider that. I really appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Can you have a great day?